Are you wondering which tarot decks are the darkest and the scariest out in the market? In this video, I'm going to show you my 10 most scary and darkest decks in my collection. Stick around and let's go from number 10 all the way to number 1. Hi everybody, welcome to the channel. This is Rob. Today, as I mentioned on the intro, we are going to be counting down from number 10 all the way to number 1, my darkest tarot decks in my collection. And at number 10, we have Corado Roy, Murder of Crows. And this is a really dark deck, you guys. I've tried to connect with this deck a couple of times and we seem to be having some sort of disconnection. Now, the box is one of those hard boxes from Scarabeo. Really, really nice box, I have to say. It opens up like this and it goes really well on the bookshelf. It's a wonderful box. And this is the book that it comes with. And if you know Los Scarabeo books are written in 4 or 5 different languages. And so they're very small. They go really right to the point. You get the meanings of the minor arcana, major arcana, and maybe if you're lucky, you get a couple of spreads. And those are really the books in a nutshell from Los Scarabeo. So not very useful, I have to confess. But these are the cards, you guys. And if you're familiar with the Murder of Crows, maybe you know what I'm talking about. These cards are black and white. And while I appreciate art and all sorts of artwork, this is just one of those decks that I find totally, totally dark. And look at this image. This is the 8 of Swords. Let's talk about paper stock. Paper stock on this deck is really good. It's thick, but it's not super thin. It has a good weight on it. It's a little bit on the shiny side, but it's not completely shiny. This is the back of the card. It is reversible, as you can see. And you guys, if we just go over some of the cards, you're going to see how dark these are. Look at this one, the Strength card. Look at the face of this woman here. It's sort of like a crow in a human body. The Lovers. This is the 3 of Wands, and usually I look at the 3 of Wands as the beginning of something. I see here sort of the end. I don't know, you guys. I've tried to connect with this deck and I just can't seem to do it. But for the darkest decks, I think that this Murder of Crows is perfect. And I thought for a moment, maybe I'll gift this deck. Maybe I'll give it away, but I don't think I'm going to do that because I do appreciate the work and I do appreciate the artwork and I appreciate the cardstock and I like the presentation of it. And so I'm going to stick with it. Look at this Justice card and see how we develop, or if we develop any kind of relationship, because as of now, we are sort of not connecting. But Corado Roy, Murder of Crows. This is number 10 out of my darkest tarot decks in my collection. Let's move on to deck number 9. Deck number 9. This is the Black Line Tarot by Agni Prasada Burning. Confront your dark side with this limited edition Macabre tarot deck. First edition 2020. You guys, this is an indie deck. It was expensive. I got it on a website that is not very well known. If anybody is interested in getting it, let me know. But this is just a black and white deck. It's not super scary, but it is a darker deck. And so I thought that this would make it to number 9 because it is black and white only. I find the images to be beautiful on this deck, by the way. And this is the King of Swords, the Moon. Images are very simple. I'm very fond of them. It looks like somebody just drew them by hand and just left the deck here at my house. But it is sort of a darker deck. Look at the Hermit and the Wheel of Fortune. The Fool. It is dark, but then at the same time, it has some funny aspects to it, I guess. This is Justice. King of Cups. 9 of Wands. And you guys, when it comes to paper stock, it's really a nice paper stock. This is the back of the card. It has 2 feathers and it is completely reversible. And it's a really nice deck. I enjoy this deck. I use this deck on a regular basis and I enjoy it very much. The Seeker also seems to enjoy this deck very much every time I bring it out. And shuffling this deck is really a wonderful thing. It shuffles really, really well. And if you want to do a fan situation with it, it works really, really well as well. So let's pick one of the cards. It's the 10 of Swords. So you guys, that is deck number 9. Let's move on to deck number 8. Deck number 8, Gustave Dore Tarot, and this one is by Scarabeo. It is a beautiful deck in many ways, but also a very dark deck. And so it's black and white. Let me show you. It comes in a tuck box like this. Tuck box is really nothing to talk about here. It's just a regular tuck box, but that's what it looks like. And it comes with this typical Scarabeo little booklet, and these booklets are written in different languages, and they just go right into the point. They give you the minor arcana, major arcana, and that's the end of that one. But these are the cards for Gustave Dore, and this is the back of the card, which I really love, by the way. It is reversible, as you can see. Paper stock is on the thinner side for this deck, you guys. So if you're looking for thicker paper, you're not going to find it with this deck. And if paintings interest you, then this is definitely a deck that you're going to want to look into, because the paintings on this deck are beautiful. They're symbolic. This is black and white. Look at this 4 of Swords. It's already, I mean, this guy's already dead. And it's just, they're so detailed. This is one of those decks that really speaks and speaks loud. It chats for a really long time. Look at this 4 of Pentacles. What a different sort of 4 of Pentacles, right? We usually don't see that. This is not your run-of-the-mill. I thought that this was perfect for the darker decks because it is a darker deck. Look at this Ace of Cups. The Ace of Cups is supposed to be one of those lighter, cheerful cards. And look how dark it looks here. What is this? The 6 of Swords. Just a beautiful deck. The paintings are absolutely amazing. It really chats for days. And this is a Scarabeo, Gustave Dore. It is the same size, of course, because it is a Scarabeo. Actually, it is, yeah, it's a little bit shorter than the regular Scarabeo. It's sort of on the smaller side, but really, really nice deck. I enjoy it. I work with it. I don't work with it that often, but I'm really happy that this deck is in my collection because I think it's just a piece of artwork and love the paintings on this deck. And I enjoy having this deck very much on my collection. Let's move on to deck number 7. Terra of the Abyss by Erethereal. And this deck is by US Game Systems. This is a deck that I work with a lot. I work with this deck all the time. This is a deck that I enjoy the drawings that are in here. I enjoy the meaning of the cards, and I enjoy very much the way it speaks to me. It comes into a box that breaks into 2 like this. This is the front of the box. This is the back of the box. The book is really nice. It's sort of that, it has that rose petal feeling to it. And it's just one of those books that it's well written. It's not very long, but it's well done. And I think that this book deserves a read because the meanings of the cards are interpreted here by the creator of the deck. And I think it's really worth to give this little book a read. And let me show you what these cards are all about. This is the back of the card, and they are reversible. And they are black and white. It is one of my darkest decks, but this one is absolutely gorgeous. The drawings on this deck are beautiful. The cardstock on this deck is also really, really nice. It's not thin, it's not thick. It's just a really nice cardstock. It shuffles really, really well. The size of it is a little bit bigger than the Scarabeo, as you can see. And so it fits well on the hands when you try to shuffle this one. And working with this deck is a delight because it just speaks very much to the heart. The Three of Swords. Look at this, his head is open. You can see his brain there. And yeah, very interesting deck. The Knight of Wands. Super dark, right? The Seven of Wands. He is definitely in defense mode. The World. Look at that Queen of Wands. It's super dark, and this is why this deck made it to the list of darkest decks on my collection. The King of Cups. But beautiful, beautiful drawings. If you don't have this deck, I definitely recommend that you take a look at it. It is a wonderful deck. This is actually one of my favorite decks in my entire collection. I just love the drawings, and it looks like the artist was just here and basically drew it in front of me. It looks that real. Look at that star. The star is supposed to be a very brightful card, but here it's super dark. Awakening. And that's the number 20 card, and it's Awakening, so they have an extra card for this one. Nine of Cups. Page of Pentacles. So you guys, that is the Terra of the Abyss. This is a very special deck. I recommend it 100%. I enjoy this deck. I work with this deck on an often basis, and it's just one of those decks that I take out very regularly and do readings with it regularly. So let's continue with number 5. Deck number 6, Blackwater Tarot. And you guys, this is an indie deck. I received this deck all the way from England. I bought it directly with the creator of this deck. And this deck actually comes in 2 different versions, or maybe 3 different versions. This is the middle of the road, I think. There's another one that is more expensive than this one, and it's considerably higher price. So I went ahead and ordered this one. This is what the front or the back of the box looks like. This is what the front of the box looks like. The creator is Noah Rogers, and it comes in a talk box like this. It's a nice deck. It is a very creative deck. This is the book that is inside of the box, and it's not that explicit. But however, it has Noah's thoughts on the cards, and it has a brief introduction to Noah's and how he came to create this deck, which is super interesting, by the way. And of course, I can't read it here because it's a bit long and it would just take long, but it's a very creative deck. I like Noah's story of how he came to do this deck and how he was introduced to tarot. And so, cute little book, and these are the cards. This is the back of the card. They are not reversible. As you can see, it's a drop falling on water and then making a splash. Once again, black and white deck, no colors on this deck, and it's a Macabre deck, and this is why it made it to this list, because it's a deck that, look at this Ace of Pentacles. In the Ace of Pentacles, it's supposed to be a card that we're cheerful for, right? And so when you look at this Ace of Pentacles here, you see this hand that is decrepit, giving you an Ace of Pentacles. You think, you know, be careful what you wish for, or be careful what they give you, right? So it's just one of those. Look at this Two of Cups. It doesn't look like a very happy Two of Cups. The Ace of Cups. There we go again. The Ace of Cups is just one of those cards that is supposed to make us feel rejoiceful and it's supposed to make us feel good. But this is so dark. I do read with it once in a while because I find the images totally impressive. Look at this Strength card. It didn't overcome the strength. The creature here is basically winning the fight, and it has usually what is a woman taming a lion, and there's blood here. It looks like he's about to take a bite into her. So very much so on the darker side. Look at this Hanged Man, right? There's like a crow there, and it looks like that's the head of the devil. And the Tower, very dramatic. paper stock is okay on this deck. Although it is a heavier paper stock or card stock, it's not one of my favorites. I don't know why. It's like it's heavy and it's thick, but still bends very easily, and then it doesn't recuperate its form. After a while, you're going to see that the deck is going to look used up. Look at this death card. The star. The moon. The sun. Not a very happy sun, but there it is. At least the sun face looks a bit happy. The Two of Pentacles. And there's always this blood here spattered. You know, even though it's black, one can also tell that it's blood. So the Five of Pentacles, I don't know if they need to run anywhere. It looks to me like they're dead. But Six of Pentacles. King of Wands. So you guys, that is the Blackwater Tarot. It's a very interesting deck, and if you're interested in this deck, I'm going to leave the link of where you can purchase it, and if you have any questions about it, also let me know. So you guys, that's the Blackwater Tarot created by Nora Rogers, and let's move on with our list. Let's move on to the next deck. Deck number 5. Mildred Payne's Oracle of Black Enchantment. This is by Deviant Moon Inc. And it's actually not a tarot deck, but it's an oracle deck. And it's very spooky. So that's why this guy made it to the list of the darkest decks. And this is the back of the talk box. It is a talk box, in case you were wondering. The cards are sort of like on the larger side. This is the card that comes as an announcement, the Mildred Payne's Oracle of Black Enchantment. Then it comes with a card like this. It says that Fenwood Coven, 1933. And that's a picture of her. I think that's another picture of her in 1933. And you finally get to the cards. And you guys, this is not an inexpensive deck. And I paid good money for this deck. And so the drawings on this deck are really, really cool. I can't find another word for it. It has that sepia color and they're black. So they're almost black and white, but they're not white. They're black and sepia. And this is what the drawings look like. Now, there is no book. So you can go online and you can download their book or the meanings of the cards. But I did that and then I misplaced them, and it's just such a hassle to take those pages with me around. And I've said this before, I don't like it when the decks come with no books, because especially when the deck costs over $50, which this one definitely cost over $50, plus when you add shipping and all of the other fees, it can run you close to $100 for just this deck. And so I believe that for that amount of money, a book should be justified. And so they ask you to go online and download it and then print it on your own. So it's not even like they're trying to save paper or something like this, or they're trying to be environmentally friendly, because then they would not encourage people to go online and print it out, because that's basically the same thing, isn't it? So I just would really like to have a book, because this is not a deck that you can just look at and then think, oh, okay, I know the meanings of these cards. No, you're going to have the book to know what these cards mean, because it is impossible to know that just by looking at them. And so I'm showing you some of the drawings and what they look like. Like I said, I don't have the printout with me. And it is one of those decks that you can also just look it up on your phone, and then the meanings will come up once you get the list on your phone. But if you don't have that list, you don't know what these drawings mean. And so, but it's very spooky. There is a reason why I made it to the list of number 10, because it is just a spooky, dark deck. So you guys, that is Mildred Payne's Oracle of Black Enchantment, and we're going to move on now to our next deck. Deck number 4, Purgatorium by Mr. Freeborg. And this deck is really dark. This deck is definitely one of my darkest decks, and that's why it made it to number 4. The pictures are or can be a little disturbing. It's really not for everybody, but I'm going to show you. And this is not a deck that I've seen a lot online, but it is a deck that I use, and it is a deck that I enjoy as well. It comes in a tuck box like this. The tuck box is sort of flimsy. This is the book that comes with it. And by the way, you guys, this is a book that I do read whenever I'm doing a reading with this deck, because even though the deck has a keyword here, I still want to know what the creator intended for that card, or what the meaning of that card is according to the creator. So it's a useful book, by the way. And so these are the cards, you guys. They are dark cards. By the way, paper stock is really nice on this deck. I really like this paper stock. I think it's a linen, but it's not one of those linens that slide all over the place. It's actually a really nice linen that it's wonderful to work with. And by the way, this is the back of the card, and this is not reversible, but the book gives you the reverse and darkest decks. As you can see, look at that world card, storm, accusation. And when you read the meanings on the little booklet, it is really amazing what the creator has to say about that. For example, let's read attack. What does the book say about attack? Attack. Without a plan, there's no attack. Without attack, there's no victory. Description. A witch hunter is suddenly attacked by witches turned beasts. So high polarity meaning is a situation calls for action, but an attack is expected. So one would be wise to attack from a different angle. Do something unexpected in order to surprise your opponent. Element of surprise. In the low polarity meaning, an unexpected turn of events, a shock, someone acting in a way one did not see coming. Expecting the unexpected, seeing a situation from several angles in order to anticipate an attack. So that kind of gives you an idea of what the book, or how the book reads. That is charity. Contract, herd, folly, arbitrary. So this is not a deck that's for everybody, I have to say, and I don't pull it out all the time, but I do work with it. I do enjoy evidence. I do enjoy working with this deck. And if you want a raw answer to your questions, this is a deck that's going to give it to you. And this deck doesn't beat around the bush. It just tells you what you need to hear, whether you want to hear it or not, it's going to be there. So this is not a deck that puts things in a soft sort of a way. Absolutely not. This is a deck that just gives it to you raw. So you guys, that is Purgatorium by Dr. Freeborg. Let's move on to deck number 3. Deck number 3, Terra Volatile. This is a deck that I really just enjoy very, very much. There is some things that I don't like about it, but overall it is a pretty beautiful deck. And it's an indie deck. It comes in a box like this. It is on the expensive side, you guys. And this one opens like this. It doesn't come with a booklet included in this particular package. The book is very big and you need to buy it separately. I bought mine separately. And so let me show you what these guys look like. This is the inside of the box, and it closes like this with a magnet, and these are the cards. Now you guys, these cards are beautiful. It comes with extra cards. It comes with an extra suit, so you have the ability to change some of the cards if you don't want them. And so it's very versatile. You can go ahead and create sort of your own deck in a way, not all the way, but sort of, I would have to say. And so I'm showing you some of the images right now. This is the Empress, and it's just beautiful. I love this deck. Now, this is what the back of the card looks like. It's really not my favorite backing, but it is reversible. So if you want to do reversals with this, you can do that. And so this is the 7 of Cups. It sort of resembles the RWS. So for that matter, that is really good if you are into the RWS. And if you're not, then because it's not totally RWS. Look at that tower card. I love that. And you guys, when it comes to paper stock, it comes with that linen paper that is very slippery. So you have to be careful how you handle this deck because it kind of just goes all over the place. And that is one of the things that I don't like. However, you guys, that is a very personal opinion. I've heard of many people that love this card stock. So that's wonderful. It is a thicker deck because it comes with an extra suit. So when it comes to shuffling, other than the thickness, it shuffles pretty well. This cardstock is sort of on the thinner side. And like I said, some people like it, some people don't. Personally, it doesn't work so good for me, but I'm getting used to it because so many of my favorite decks have it that I have no choice but to get used to it, you guys. So deck number 2, the Hermetic Tarot. And this tarot deck is one of those decks that I use not very often. It has a sort of its own language and I haven't really totally gotten into it, but it is super interesting, you guys. I have to say haven't really practiced with it. It comes in a talk box like this. It is by US Game Systems, and the talk box, as you can see, is nothing out of the ordinary. It comes with a small booklet like this, and it goes right into the meanings of the cards. And the meanings of the cards are different on this deck than on the regular RWS would be. And so this one is one that if you're not very familiar with tarot, I would definitely wait with this one because it's something else that you're going to have to learn. I myself, I'm not very familiar with the Hermetic Tarot, but the pictures are really interesting. I consider it to be one of my darkest decks. It's only black and white, of course, and the images are intriguing. They are bothersome at times. This is the King of Pentacles or the Prince of the Chariot of Earth. And it's just one of those decks that you don't really know what to think of it. I don't really know what to think of it. I need to get a better book other than this pamphlet because it's really, I think there's some studying to do when it comes to this deck. It's one of those decks that every time I pick it up, I feel like I'm being reintroduced to tarot. So it's a refreshing sort of a deck, although it's one of my darkest decks out there on my collection. It's one that I enjoy the most. When it comes to cardstock, it is okay. It is your regular sort of cardstock. It's not thin, it's not thick. It's a good cardstock, really. I don't complain about it. It is not on the shiny side. It is matte. And when it comes to shuffling this deck, this shuffles really well. Sometimes you'll get one or two cards that will flip. And if you want to do a fan situation, that works really, really well. And this is the Hermetic Tarot, and this is my deck number 2 for darkest tarots. So you guys, let's move to deck number 1. Tarot deck number 1. Erethereal Shadow Tarot. You guys, this deck I just got very, very recently. I wasn't sure if I wanted to get it or not. I saw some of the reviews online and I thought, I don't know, it's too dark. But at the end, I decided to get it, and I'm glad that I did because it is a nice deck. Now, a lot of the people are unsure about the images on the deck because they are AI generated, and I don't seem to mind them. I think they're kind of nice. And that's the book, by the way, that comes with it. It is a nice book to read because the images are totally not RWS. So if you are going to be reading this, I think it would be a good idea to take a look at the book. They have the meanings in there of the cards. It comes in a box like this. It breaks into 2. This is the top part of the box, and this is the bottom part of the box. Now, I ordered my deck directly with the creators in Canada. So my deck came from Canada. This is a very dark deck. They say that this deck should be for shadow work, and of course it can be for shadow work. But I personally like to diversify this deck. I don't necessarily just use it for shadow work. And this is what some of the images look like. This is the 5 of Pentacles. And this is the back of the card. They are not reversible, and the size of the card is long. So they're kind of like thin and long, as you can see. Paper stock quality is for me ideal. I really enjoy working with this card stock. It is thick, and it is sort of on the stiff side. I've heard many comments where people say to me, yeah, oh, I don't like that cardstock. It's very stiff and I can't really play with the deck. And so for me, it works really, really well. It is gilded in a total gold, which I find very refreshing because such a dark deck, the gold makes it a little bit more, or the gold makes it lighter. And so you guys, this is just one of the darkest decks you'll ever see out there. And you know, going back to the images, there were people that said that they don't like it because it's AI generated. And that was one of the reasons at the beginning why I thought I didn't want it. But you know, now that I look at it, I find it to be absolutely beautiful. What an interesting deck. And it really, really is super interesting. And I don't think that, well, I think it would be very hard to draw something like this, but you know, although they are AI images, I find them to be super creative. I mean, somebody had to create these images. And so I don't know if they are completely AI, but somebody had to give the AI the idea to create that image. And so look at this one, the 9 of Swords. And it's super dark. Or if you're looking to have a lighter reading, this is not the deck to have. So you guys, this is the Erethereal Shadow Tarot. And this is my #1 of darkest tarot decks. You guys, if you like the content, let me know. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Leave me your comments. Do you guys have any of these decks? And if you do, which one is your favorite? Let me know in the comments. And as I always say, you guys, until the next time.